I'm with Bill Hoffman here from Hoffman Beef Consulting, and Bill's got some really key messages about what we need to be thinking about looking after our livestock in dry times. So in terms of the season we've had so far, it hasn't been crash hot. We have seen some really tough conditions, especially through the upper hunter, but we are starting to see, hopefully that might be starting to ease off. What do people need to be thinking about right now?
I guess in any period of tough seasonal conditions, whether it's goes on into an extended drought situation or whatever, it's important, I guess, and it's easy for me to say this, a step back from those busy tactical things that are required to be done on the farm every day, and to assess the bigger picture. How long it might last for, what actions you're going to take, whether that's feeding cattle, which brings in lots of other supplementary questions about what to feed, the cost, all those sorts of things, or a structured sell down of numbers to reduce the stocking pressure. So it's important to be, and that assessment is in our sort of business, because weather patterns dictate to be a continuous process. So I guess the key message and now is to where to next, and assuming that everybody has taken some action, what happens next, I guess, is a little bit unclear yet. But it's at least, I think, this general positivity that it's going to get better, as opposed to the situation we've been in for the last sort of basically 3 or 4 months.
So the options are to sell or to feed and to hang on. There can be problems if you do choose to feed. It can be difficult to sell, but there is still some good prices out there at the moment for cattle, so maybe that might be the priority option.
Yeah, look, looking back at what has happened over the last 3 or 4 months, as we've been in sort of fairly ordinary situation rain-wise, the cattle market has moved back a little bit, but I think that a portion of that was always going to happen for factors other than seasonal factors, so there hasn't been a total collapse. So cattle have remained marketable on a market that probably most people realised was going to ease. The bigger question now, I guess, is where that's going to settle, and the processors and the feedlots would probably like to think that'll settle lower than it even is now, where producers would like to think that arbitrarily, maybe $3 for a feeder steer or something like that is probably a reasonable budget position to be in. The $3.80 that was around last year would be a better position, obviously, but we have to be realistic as the twos and fros happen. Yeah, so I think that certainly nobody likes to see cattle market come back, but certainly it didn't come back to sort of as it did a few years ago when the really big serious drought was on.
We have seen in the last week, since a couple of showers came through, particularly northern parts of the state, that the cattle market has rebounded in some places. So it might give people that confidence to look ahead as we head into summer, but they do need to think about what ground cover they've got at home. Yep. And whether they can hang on. Yeah,
look, I think there are always optimists in our industry, and people people might call them other things, punters or whatever like that, or gamblers, but it doesn't take much of a hint of rain to bring the demand for restock of cattle back to the forefront. And I think a number of things have played out this time. Is that there was a little bit of a move up, regardless, before the last rain events in the northern part of the state, by people buying cattle to put on failed grain crops. So there was a bit of a win, in a way, for people selling light restock of cattle there. And then the hint of rain, and over the last sort of 3 years, I guess, the restock of cattle market has just dominated everything. 85% of the cattle used to calculate the ECI last year were bought by restockers. And the restock of cattle market, particularly for, I guess, the lighter type cattle, in the feedlot market, the feeder steer market has moved probably anywhere between 25, 30 and 35 cents in a matter of a couple of weeks. So let's hope those, coupled with our increasing chance of getting rain in the eastern part of Australia, gel together, and we get to a good sustainable position, which is what I think everybody wants.
And so I suppose the take-home message is try and sit back and make some objective decisions about your business, and obviously try and find the right home for your cattle if you can't hold on to them, and if not, to really consider what your options are.
Yeah, and I think that word objective or evidence-based is what we really are looking for. There's always a degree of risk. We can't take the risk out of what we do in agriculture, particularly in a cattle production system where we're looking at an extended period of time between key events. So it is a matter now of having a number of cattle that are manageable at the moment on your property without damaging your pastures, making sure the cattle are looked after in a good manner from a welfare point of view, and being able to capitalise then in a recovery, whether that's on farm or in the cattle market.
That's great. Thanks so much for your time.
Okay.